Welcome to 华尔街透视, that's Wall Street Insights. Today, we're digging into one of the biggest stories in finance, this massive divide between professional and individual investors, and really, how the sheer belief of retail traders is completely changing the game in 2025.
All right, let's just start with this staggering number. $155 billion. That's the record amount of cash that retail investors poured into U.S. stocks in just the first half of 2025. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's even more than we saw during the peak of the whole meme stock craze back in 2021.
And look, this isn't just some flash in the pan. We're talking about a fundamental structural shift in how the market works, and it's all being driven by a new generation of investors who are acting with a really powerful and, as you're about to see, deeply held conviction.
So first up, let's try to get our heads around the sheer scale of this retail rush and understand why it's becoming such a core part of the financial picture for millions of households.
You know, what's really wild is that for the first time since the 1950s, stocks now make up 36% of all household financial assets. This means market swings aren't just some abstract thing for Wall Street anymore. It's hitting the net worth of regular families directly and immediately.
Now, this huge wave of cash isn't just random. It's being guided by a simple but, incredibly powerful strategy. For a lot of people, it's become more than a tactic. It's almost like an article of faith.
And that guiding philosophy is buy the dip, or BTD. It's this core belief that when the market drops, that's not a reason to panic and sell. No, that's a discount. It's a buying opportunity. And in 2025, that belief was really put to the test.
Just take a look at the April tariff event. A surprise policy announcement comes out of nowhere, and bam, the S&P 500 drops 12%. But instead of running for the exits, retail investors flooded in with a massive wave of buying. They bought over $4 billion in a single day, twice. And for the entire month, they put a net $40 billion into stocks.
And here's the kicker. This conviction paid off. Big time. According to Bank of America's data, if you had a strategy of only buying on the down days in 2025, you would have seen a 31% cumulative return. That absolutely crushed the broader market.
It's gotten to the point where, as Mike Zigmond from Wisdom Investment Group put it, the buy-the-dip mentality has become the new religion. It's not just a strategy anymore, it's a belief system.
But here's where the story gets really fascinating. While all this retail optimism is flooding the market, the so-called smart money, the big institutional funds, they're doing the exact opposite.
I mean, this slide just lays it all out. You've got retail pouring that record $155 billion into the market. At the same time, institutional managers were net sellers. They were carefully cutting their positions, selling into the rallies, and basically following all their risk models that were screaming caution.
Okay, before we dive into the why behind this huge split, we have to do the necessary disclaimer. This explainer is just for informational purposes. It's all based on public data, and it is definitely not financial advice.
So that leads to the critical question, right? Why are two smart groups looking at the exact same data and coming to completely opposite conclusions? Well, it seems to come down to experience and really to memory. What we're seeing is a classic psychological split. You have younger investors who basically grew up in a bull market where taking risks paid off. For them, every dip has been a great opportunity. And they're clashing with veteran investors who still have the scar tissue from the 2008 crash and the dot-com bust.
So what's the end result of this standoff between retail optimism and institutional caution? It's basically creating a whole new market reality, one with a totally different kind of safety net.
And you really can't overstate how much influence retail has now. Their trading activity drives about 20% of the total options volume. Think about that. That's a bigger slice of the market than what we saw even during the peak of the meme stock frenzy. So this constant stream of retail buying is now acting like a cushion for the market during downturns, which might be making corrections less severe. But, and this is a big but, that buying power is super concentrated in a handful of big-name tech stocks. That can smooth things out in the short term, but it also builds up this massive, unprecedented risk right under the surface.
And that leaves us with the defining question for the market today. Is this unwavering belief from retail investors a permanent, stabilizing force for the market? Or is it setting us up for a new kind of fall, one that we've never seen before? The truth is, nobody knows for sure.
We hope this analysis gave you a clear, data-driven look at this incredible market phenomenon. For more insights just like this, please follow our official account, 华尔街透视. And hey, if you found this explainer useful, it would be amazing if you could support us with a like and share it with your network.